This video is intended for educators and parents planning to facilitate an hour of AI using Microsoft MakeCode's Bug Arena activity. You can find the activity on the Hour of AI website, located here. Or you can use the shortcut link at aka.ms/BA. In this activity, students are challenged to code their own AI algorithms to control the movement of their bug. The Bug Arena skill map provides 3 different learning paths for students to choose from. The top path uses a random algorithm and is the easiest. The middle path uses a square algorithm and is intermediate level. And the bottom path uses a back and forth algorithm, which is a bit more difficult. For each path, the first tutorial provides step-by-step instructions for students on how to code their algorithm, and the second tutorial challenges them to use their algorithm in the tower battle and compete with other AI bugs. At the end of the learning path, they will receive a certificate and a badge. Additional educator materials and information is provided by clicking on this Learning Outcomes link here. This page provides pacing information, alignment with the AI literacy framework, and a link to additional educator lesson materials like a PowerPoint deck, an educator guide, and a student worksheet. Now let's go back to the skill map. You can optionally sign in to save your progress with Microsoft, Google, or Clever accounts. But this is totally optional and students can complete the activity without signing in. However, their work will not be saved. All right, let's start the random algorithm tutorial. Feel free to code along with me as I go through this. You can put this video on one side of your screen and a browser window on the other. To begin, click on the top left tile in the skill map and then click on this Start button. The first window in all these tutorials contains a video teaching students how to play the Bug Arena game. You can have students watch this independently or watch it as a class before starting the activity. The video is posted on YouTube or in the Educator Materials OneDrive. The next window shows us what we will be coding, which is an algorithm for our bug to move in random patterns around the screen, filling it with paint. The objective of the game is to color in as much of the screen as possible. The tutorial instructions are here on the left pane. Let's have our bug turn in a different direction every 5 seconds. To do this, we'll use a time interval block. So from the Bug AI Toolbox category, drag an every 5,000 milliseconds block out onto the workspace. You can expand these sections here in the tutorial pane if you want to get more information. In this case, it's telling us that the every 5,000 ms block will run the code you put inside of it on a specified time interval. In this case, every 5,000 milliseconds, or 5 seconds. Clicking on this light bulb icon will show students the solution code. And to go to the next step in the tutorial, click Next. Now it's telling us from the Bug AI category we need to drag a turn 90 block out and drop it into the every 5000 ms block. This turn block will turn our bug 90 degrees clockwise from its current direction. All right, let's go to the next step. Now, every 5 seconds, we want our bug to turn in a different random direction. For that, we'll use the Pick Random block in the Math Toolbox category, and we'll drop it into the Turn block, replacing the 90. The Pick Random block returns a random value between a minimum and a maximum value. In this case, it will return a random value between negative 180 degrees and positive 180 degrees. Okay, finally, time to try out our code. In the game window here in the bottom right corner, go ahead and click on the Practice button. Then select No Opponent and Infinite. Let's watch our bug move across the screen. It should be changing direction every 5 seconds. All right, looks good, but you'll see here that when it bumps into a wall, it gets stuck for a little bit. So let's add some code that will make our bug change direction when it bumps into a wall. From the Bug AI category, drag an on-bump wall block out onto the workspace. And the same thing as before, we'll drag a turn block and drop it into our on-bump wall block. Let's click Next. Okay, and again, we want our bug to turn in a random direction. So we're going to use that Pick Random block again. Okay, that's it. And now we can watch our bug zoom around the screen in random patterns. Every 5 seconds, it changes direction. Go ahead and click Done to move on to the tower battle. I'm going to go through all of the tutorial algorithms first before showing you the tower battle. So let's start the squares algorithm. Go ahead and click on the first tile in the middle learning path, and then click on the Start button to begin the tutorial. The first window on all these tutorials contains a video teaching students how to play the Bug Arena game. The next window shows us what we will be coding, which is an algorithm for our bug to move in concentric squares around the screen, filling it with paint. The objective of the game is to color in as much of the screen as possible. Let's follow the tutorial instructions on the left side of the screen here. Our bug moves on its own, but we need to make sure it's moving in the right direction. So from the Bug AI Toolbox category, drag a Face Towards block, which is down here, and drop it into the On Start block. You can expand these sections in the tutorial pane to learn more about each of the code blocks. Here it tells us that the Face Towards block will turn your bug to face a specific angle, where 0 degrees is facing towards the right. Clicking on the light bulb icon will show the students their solution code. Let's click Next to go to the next step in the tutorial. Let's see what our code is doing. In the game window in the bottom right corner here, click on this Practice button, and then select No Opponent and Infinite. Okay, well, we can see our bug is heading towards the right, which is good. But you'll see when it actually makes it across the screen, it stops. So let's code some behavior for it to turn when it hits a wall. Open the Bug AI toolbox drawer and drag an on-bump wall block out onto the workspace. You can put this anywhere. Then let's click Next. Now from the Bug AI toolbox, let's drag a Turn 90 degrees block out and drop it into our on-bump wall. The turn block will turn our bug a specified number of degrees from its current location, where a positive number is clockwise and a negative number is counterclockwise. In this case, we'll leave it at positive 90 degrees, which turns our bug 90 degrees to the right. All right, and you can see in the game window, our bug is indeed moving 90 degrees to the right every time it hits a wall. So this is good. But it's moving around the outside of the arena. How do we make it move in concentric squares so it fills up the arena with paint? How about when it detects its own paint color, it turns? From the Bug AI category, we're going to drag out this every 500 ms group of blocks and put it on the workspace. And again, you can put this anywhere. Let's click to expand to see the explanation of what these blocks do. So the every 500 millisecond block will run the code you put inside of it every half a second. And the if-then block is checking whether the distance in pixels from the front of our bug to its own paint color equals 0. So when our bug detects its own paint color, let's have it turn to the right. From the Bug AI Toolbox category, drag another Turn 90 degrees block and drag and drop it into the if-then block. All right, that's it. Let's check our work in the game window. So we can see our bug moving around the outside of the screen. And then when it gets to the beginning, it detects its own paint color and turns early. Click the Done button to move on to the tower battle. The last and most challenging is the back and forth algorithm tutorial, mostly because it introduces the concept of a variable. Again, feel free to code along with me as I go through this. So click on the last learning path tile and select Start to begin. Again, the first window on all of these tutorials contains a video teaching students how to play the Bug Arena game. The next window shows us what we will be coding, which is an algorithm for our bug to move back and forth across the screen, filling it with paint. And the objective of the game is to color in as much of the screen as possible. The tutorial instructions are here in a pane on the left side of the screen. Our bug moves on its own, but we need to make sure it's moving in the right direction. So from the Bug AI Toolbox category, drag a Face Towards block into your OnStart. You can expand these sections in the tutorial pane to learn more about what the code does. In this case, Face Towards will move our bug to orient in a certain direction, where 0 equals to the right. All right, let's see what our code is doing. So in the game window, in the bottom right corner of the screen here, go ahead and click on the Practice button, select No Opponent, and select Infinite Time. Now here we see our bug moving across the screen. It's facing towards the right, so that's good. But when it hits a wall, nothing happens. So let's add code to make it turn when it bumps into a wall. So from the Bug AI Toolbox category, drag a on-bump wall block out onto the workspace, and you can put this anywhere. Click Next. Now from the Bug AI category, drag a Turn 90 Degrees block out and drop it into the on-bump wall block. The Turn 90 Degrees block will turn our bug a specified number of degrees from its current direction, where a positive number is clockwise and a negative number is counterclockwise. In this case, we'll leave it at positive 90 degrees, which turns our bug 90 degrees to the right or facing down. Click Next. Now, at the end of the row, we want our bug to turn down, move a little, and then turn all the way around in the direction we came. So to do that, we're going to use a type of pause block. From the Bug AI category, drag a Run After 1000 ms block out and drop it into our on-bump wall block after the turn block. Let's expand this section to learn what this does. The Run After block will wait a specified amount of time. In this case, 1000 milliseconds or 1 second before running the code inside of it. Click Next. Now from the Bug AI category, drag a Turn 90 Degrees block out again and drop it into the Run After block. All right, let's see what this does in the game window. So you can see our bug moving across the screen. When it bumps a wall, it turns 90 degrees, it moves down the screen, and then it turns again. But you can see it is moving back and forth, but it just keeps doing this at the top. So how do we fix this? Well, we want our bug to turn towards the right at the end of the first row. But then we want it to turn it towards the left at the end of the second row, and so on and so forth. So it keeps moving down the screen. So to do that, we'll need to create a variable. Open the Variables toolbox drawer and click on this Make a Variable button. Let's name our variable Angle. Okay. So what exactly is a variable? Well, you can see a variable is like a container that we can use to hold a value. In this case, our angle variable will hold either 90 or negative 90 degrees, indicating if our bug should be turning left or right. Click Next. Now, from the Variables category, drag out a Set Angle block and drop it into the OnStart block. Then type in negative 90 degrees to start with. Click Next. Now open up the Variables category again and drag another Set Angle block into the top of the on-bump wall block this time. Click Next. This time, we're going to set the angle variable to be the opposite of what it currently is. So if it's negative 90, we want to set it to 90. And if it's 90, we want to set it to negative 90. So to do that, we're going to multiply by negative 1. From the Math Toolbox drawer, drag a multiplication operator block out and drop it into the Set Angle block, replacing the 0 here. Now from the Variables category, drag an Angle variable block out and drop it into this first field of the multiplication block. And in the second field, go ahead and type in negative 1. This will set the new angle variable value to the opposite of what it was before. Go ahead and click Next. All right, so now instead of using this turn 90 degrees, we're going to use our angle variable. So open up the variables category, select one angle block for this first turn and another angle block for the second turn, replacing the 90 that was there. All right, that's it. Let's check our work in the game window. So you can see our bug moves across the screen, moves down to the left, to the right, to the left. Perfect. Click the Done button to move on to the tower battle. After students finish coding their AI bug algorithm, they can move on to the second tutorial, which is essentially just gameplay and tweaking their algorithms to beat the different opponents. So go ahead and select the second tile in the learning path and select the Start button to begin. Click OK. Now notice that the code they wrote in the previous tutorial will get carried over. There is some additional information on how to play the game in the tutorial pane on the left here. Now, to expand the game window to full screen, click on this full screen button here. Then select the tower button to start the tower battle. Now, if you want to skip any of the animated cutscenes, press and hold the A or B buttons, which map to the space bar or enter key on the keyboard. At each level of the tower is a different AI bug opponent, and the goal is to climb to the very top of the tower. Your bug is powered by the AI algorithm you wrote, so you cannot control it with the joystick. Each round is 5 minutes long. And you can change the speed slider to move your bug slower or faster during the battle. When you win, you move up to the next opponent. When you lose, you can edit your code to change your algorithm and try again. You can click to continue to start at the level you left or start a new game from the bottom of the tower. There is a special recognition for beating the tower with a single algorithm. To exit the full screen view, click on this button here. Once students have finished the tower battle, have them click the Done button, and then they will be able to claim their reward, which is a badge that will show up in their profile page and a customizable certificate that they can print out. If students have additional time, encourage them to continue experimenting with different algorithms and blocks. There are a number of different turning, orientation, and vision blocks available to use. So encourage them to think through the algorithm first. What kind of movement or rules do they want for their bug? There are also some fun customization blocks available to change the color of your paint to all sorts of fun different colors and also change the look of your bug. So I can set my bug color to green. And then maybe I want to set the legs. I can duplicate this if I right click. Maybe I want to set the leg color to red. And then again, I can right click and select duplicate. And maybe I want to set the nose color to yellow. And then lastly, if I want to set the eye color to, how about blue? This will be interesting. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like in the game window here. I'm going to click practice, no opponent, infinite. Oh, and you can see my bug, my crazy looking bug here moving around in rainbow colored patterns. All right, let's click to exit the full screen window. And then I'm going to click this back arrow to return to the skill map. Now from here, students can click this share button to share their programs with others. I can type in the name for my project, click the share button, and then copy and paste this link to send to friends and family. And then when they click on this link, they will see my game and they can play it in the tower or in practice. And then they can also look at the code here and see what kind of code I did. Thanks for watching. If you have any further questions, please participate on the MakeCode forum at forum.makecode.com.